And just like that, we are officially in the second quarter of 2024. And not only are we in the second quarter of 2024, but we are officially in the spring season. I hope the Easter break filled you guys with joy, peace, happiness. I hope Mr. Peter Rabbit gave you all good gifts. I know I'm a little bit late with my season greetings of spring, but never late and then never. I'm already stuttering on my words, oh my gosh. But welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you guys are doing well and having a great week so far. I hope you guys are not choosing violence. I hope you guys are smelling flowers instead, enjoying the blossoming of spring. So let's get straight into this video. Now, you guys all know that I love the fall season, the autumn season. That is my season. I don't run from it. I don't hide from it. However, in this seasonal growth, spring does hold a bit of a special place in my heart. You know, the fruits are bearing off of trees. It's mango season. You can have some mangoes. Flowers are blossoming everywhere. It's just giving positive vibes and good vibes. But for me, I think the most beautiful part about spring is a fresh start, embracing new opportunities and things just now coming into fruition. Just like how fruits are now bearing off of trees, it's time for opportunities to now come to light and now bear fruit and harvest the fruit of your labor. I think we should all cherish the opportunity of growth in this spring season, and this is the season where we need to spring forth and leap into faith. Leap into having faith that whatever you were trusting God for is now going to happen. And that is what this seasonal growth is going to be about when it comes to spring. We all know I love to say we're going to spring forth and bloom and all those good things. But very recently, I kind of had a bit of a revelation. And I was like sitting down to myself and I was like, okay, it is now the second quarter of the year. And with it being the second quarter of the year, I think if you guys remember, I emphasized in the first quarter of 2024, which would have been around January, would have made a little statement. And I said something along the lines of letting the first 3 months of the first quarter of the year, let that be setting the foundation for everything that you want to come to pass or to happen and to be a success for the rest of the year. And now we are now in the spring season and we're now in the second quarter. And it just so happens that the second quarter of the year kind of starts off with the spring season, which means it's definitely time to leap into faith, leap into those actions, and trust that it's going to work out this time go round. There's a sense of renewal and possibility in the air. It's time for a new beginning and embracing change, which can lead to incredible growth both personally and professionally. However, to achieve those successful outcomes, you must be ready to embrace opportunities and seize the moment whenever it presents itself, taking that leap of faith without hesitation. Not to mention putting your trust in God. And yes, God's timing is everything. But I believe with this spring season will unfold for many of us is how much do we really trust in God and seizing risky but good opportunity that may spring forth and change our circumstances for the better. And yes, that was a mouthful that I just read. But if you really deep down and think about what I just said, this season of spring is actually going to test how much do we truly trust God. Yes, we do have seasons where everything seems dry and nothing seems to be happening, and it's like you feel bitter or you feel sad, you don't know what in the hell is going on. But I do believe that this time go around in this year, I feel like this spring season is really gonna test us and test like how much do we really trust God to lead the way? How much do we really trust God to say, you know what, God, I prayed on this, I fasted on this, I sowed onto this. I'm ready to see the fruits of my labor. I'm ready to see things come to fruition. It's one thing when you always get a word or you receive a revelation or you receive where someone just so happens to say something to you and it's confirming something that you want to happen, or in other words, you receive a prophecy. And I know for me recently, in me having my revelation, I sat down to myself and I said, you know what, God, I'm not tired of getting words, and I'm not tired of hearing you speak to me through certain people or through certain messages. However, I'm ready to really see what you're telling me come into fruition. I'm ready to now see these things happening in the natural. And when I tell you that this is a season where we now have to have crazy faith and really, really believe that these things are going to start to happen, this is a time for us to really, really believe that these things are going to happen. Whether it was you praying for an open door in your career, whether you're praying to move into your own home or move into your own place, or be able to have an opportunity that's going to break those generational curses, and something that you've been praying for that may seem impossible for you may not be impossible for God. As a matter of fact, it is very much possible for God. So I feel like with this spring season, it's really time for us to take a leap of faith and knowing that it's about to happen, and it's time to start picking our fruits. It's time to start picking our fruits off these trees and enjoying the blessings that God has for us. No more these blessings hovering over our heads, but for these things to really start for us to start picking and enjoying and praying for wisdom to keep these things that we've been having faith for and praying for. As it says in Deuteronomy 11 verse 14, then I will send rain on your land in its season, both autumn and spring rains, so that you may gather in your grain, new wine, and olive oil. So my question for you guys, and I hope some of you do believe in tithes and offering and stuff like that, but my question for you is, how many of you have sowed a seed of your first fruit? And if you don't know what the first fruit is, essentially a first fruit signifies the promise of what lies ahead. Therefore, when you offer your first fruit, we entrust our faith in the Lord for the blessings that await us. It is a declaration that says to God, God, I am ready for you to bless you with whatever it is, and I'm ready to receive abundance for what you're about to do for me. So, how many of you have actually sowed a first fruit? Now, I know oftentimes I think what churches may do, I'm not 100% sure. Some say just sow a first fruit that would serve as your fruit for the entire year. However, for me, I do things a little differently. I do a first fruit for I'm doing it this year. I'm actually going to do it for this year because this will be my first time doing it for this year. And then I break it down and do it in months. So what I tend to do is for this year, I'm sowing a first fruit for every quarter of the year, which means January, February, March, I sowed a first fruit for that first quarter. April, May, June, that's basically your spring. I sowed a first fruit for my second quarter. And then I break it down and do a smaller fruit for each month. So even if you don't really believe, and I really pray that you guys do believe in sowing your seeds and paying your tithes, it sends a big message out, not only to yourself, but it also sends a big message to God to say, God, I am trusting you. I am sowing the sacrificial seed, the sacrificial offering, because I am ready to receive what you have for me in overflow and in abundance. And I feel like the spring season is one of the best times to sow a first fruit for your second quarter, or just sow a seed. And yes, it's sacrificial. You're not supposed to calculate how much you're going to sow. And it doesn't matter how big or how small it is. Once you know, oh my God, from when you have the thought that says, oh my God, I can't afford to be given this big amount, listen, it's a sacrifice. That's the point of a seed. If you got to calculate your seed before you give it, and you have to, I have to do this and I have to do that, it's not really sacrificial. When it hurts your pockets a little, it's sacrificial. And I know that from experience. I know when I didn't have anything, I still was sowing my seed and it was hurting my pockets, trust me, because I knew I couldn't afford it, but that was my faith going into activation. So that's another thing I want to say. Let your faith activate so high this year that people looking at you like you stupid. Let your faith be so crazy. Let your faith be so ridiculous in this spring season that you can't even talk. It's going to cause you not to talk to anybody about what it is that you're trusting God for, because people are going to look at you and be like, okay, you saying this, but how is it going to happen? You don't need to worry about how it's going to happen, how God is going to do it. Don't worry about what people are singing. As a matter of fact, keep your mouth shut and keep your mouth closed. Because when you start to tell people about what you're believing God for, sometimes people tend to plant negative seeds or they say negative things. You don't need that. So just shut up about it. Just trust God and know when you feel stupid about asking God about something, just know that that's your faith going into activation, right? I just wanted to say that. But with your first fruit, it's like I said, it's letting God know that you're ready to receive an abundance. And please note that when you get these things that you are praying for and that you're receiving, and that now that your faith has come into activation, you're starting to see God work in mysterious ways. Like he uses the foolish things to confound the wise, and God start having things present itself to you, whether it's a risky opportunity, but you're like, you know what, to heck with it, I'm going to do it. Know that this is God now answering your prayers. And please, when you start to receive these fruits and you start to receive these blessings in this spring season, ask God to give you wisdom to maintain what you prayed for, and pray from, how do I want to say it? Prove God right that he could trust you with whatever he's about to give you. Because a lot of times we pray for all these things. Some of us pray for finances. Some of us pray for millions of dollars to just find us, or thousands of dollars to just find us. But can God trust you when he gives you these blessings? If you say, God, I just need $5,000, can he trust you to bless you with? Because you know we ask God for a certain amount, but he ends up giving us more. The question is, can God trust me in giving me this thing that I'm asking for? For example, I'll use money, because even though money is the root of all evil, we could all use a little extra l'argent in this time and season, right? I know I can use it. I could be real. But if you're asking God, let's say for $5,000, what are you going to do with that $5,000? Are you going to spend it on clothes? You're going to spend it on jewelry, trying to impress Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sally, Sue, and Suzanne? Or are you going to use that $5,000 and invest in a business? Are you going to invest in stocks? Are you going to try put some of that money down so that you can receive something? And see, that's the thing. A lot of us ask for these things, but we want to use it for things that are not going to help us. So you got to think like that too. Like, when I receive this blessing, am I going to use it to be a blessing to someone? Am I going to use it to help me, or am I using it to live of the world? And you don't need to be living of this world. It's rained, it has showered, and it has stormed. Many of us have actually forgotten about some of the seeds that we have sown, but that's okay. You may have forgotten, but God hasn't forgotten. And it's time now for us to harvest what we have sowed. During this vibrant season of spring, let us not only embrace the opportunities for growth and renewal, but also let us exercise our faith with the expectation of answered prayers. Be ready to receive and be ready to expect the unexpected. And I know that I'm talking to someone when I say that. Be ready to receive the unexpected. You're about to receive something that you probably didn't, well, let me put it like this. You're about to receive something that you prayed for, but you didn't know that you're about to receive it as soon as you asked for it. Many of us are about to receive something that we just didn't even expect to receive, because we thought that it was too out of our league. But let me tell you, in this spring season, you're about to receive that very thing. I know that I'm talking to someone when I say this, and I speak it over your life right now, that you are about to receive the unexpected in the spring season. Don't doubt God. You may doubt yourself, but don't doubt yourself. exercise this faith, and know that just have your hand out to receive and expect what God is about to give, all right? Let's spring forth into action and trusting that all things are coming together as we leap forward with courage and trust in God's timing. Seizing the opportunity to bloom and grow, let's remain open-minded, learn to be still, knowing that in the fertile soil of faith, all things are possible as we journey into the second quarter of this year. This is some fertile soil to have faith. So put all your faith into this soil and fertilize. Keep checking on it. Double check. If you want to remind the Lord of what you've been asking for, you can. But don't be still. And be still means that you're not talking about it. You're trusting and in knowing that God is about to do it. Because He is about to, and I am excited. It's just how He's going to do it for you. He's going to do it for me. And as He's going to do it for me, He's going to do it for y'all. And not just for y'all, but for your family, your kids, a friend, a co-worker. Just start celebrating, start praising, and start thanking God. Because it's about to happen. So as I end, guys, as I end my blossoming bloomers, continue to surrender to God. Continue to put your trust in Him. Continue to surrender your plans to Him, your mind, your body, your soul. And I want to leave you guys with this challenge. Just before I go, I want to challenge you guys, if you haven't already, I want to challenge you all to sow a first fruit. Sow a seed of a first fruit. Whether you do it for the month of April, and even though, like I said, I'm a little late on this video, it's okay. Better late than never, okay? In the month of April, I want you guys to sow a first fruit. Whether you do it for the month of April, or you do it for the second quarter of this year, or if you just do it for the spring season, and trusting God that He is about to start doing some things. No more just receiving words. Time to activate the faith and allow things to start happening and come into fruition and into manifestation. So that is my challenge for you guys. Continue to allow God to be a lamp unto your feet and a light for your path in this spring season. I love you guys so much. Thank you for staying tuned. And if you came to the end of this video, thank you for watching this video in its entirety. I know sometimes I can ramble, but when there's a word that needs to get out, a word needs to get out. So I will see you all in my next video. I love you all. Happy spring, happy belated Easter, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys. Mwah. I love you.